Hello and welcome back to the channel. We are here today talking about The Last Stand Aftermath, a gamer's opinion. If you like what you see, feel free to give this video a like. And if you want to see more in the future, hit the sub. I greatly appreciate it. Anything that you want to dispute about, you can do so in the comments, feel free. Now without wasting any more of your time, let's get into it. So The Last Stand Aftermath is a post-apocalyptic survival looter shooter game. You're a survivor who's been infected. Your colony is dying, you're running out of resources, food, medical supplies, fuel, etc., etc., and the colony will send out survivors who have been infected with the zombie virus to collect supplies outside the walls, basically sacrificing survivors who have been infected for the greater good. Now, I did play a demo of this and I did review it as well, and I was actually really excited for this game. I had pretty high expectations coming out of the demo. I had a lot of fun playing the demo actually, and I can say for certain that I really enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed this game. I really think they put in a lot of effort, and I think they really do care about their game. Now, the core gameplay is very simple. Since you've been infected, you're on a timer. This timer being the fact that once you reach maximum infection, you die. So it adds a sense of tension. You won't just be able to stealth around all the time. You really need to get going. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. And if you just picked up on that, why did I say make it when you're going to die anyway? Well, there is a story, which was actually what I was most curious about, because what story would they make about this? When I was first playing, I was wondering how would the endgame content feel. I assumed that it would get quite a bit repetitive, and it did get a little repetitive after 20 odd hours or so, because it was basically just the core gameplay is the same thing. Now you have a crafting system, you have a knowledge system where you upgrade your character skills / perks like melee damage or faster looting, and you can craft certain things like makeshift weapons, you can repair broken weapons. The inventory system is a bit flawed. You can say it does the job. It's not that confusing. I would like to be able to see which attachments I currently have on my weapon. Like there'll be times when I'm adding multiple attachments to my to a different weapon while I have certain attachments added to a weapon already. So then it just takes the attachment off my old weapon onto my new weapon when no, I want to have an attachment on both weapons, and now once I'm shooting I only realize that I've taken off my attachment of my old gun. Also talking about the shooting, let's just say the red dot sight is probably your best friend. It will tell you whether or not you can shoot over barricades like sandbags. You can clearly see that you're at the same height as this zombie in front of you, and the sandbag is clearly lower than you, but your bullet will not hit your target. There's a certain angle that you have to shoot at, or you have to increase the distance between you and the zombie, or you have to go really close to its face. It's a little buggy when shooting over things, but other than that, I have no complaints with the shooting system. I really enjoyed it, actually. As you level up, you actually unlock better weapons. The weapons become stronger over time, and you get more satisfaction from killing zombies with these certain weapons and from looting as well. There's also a lot of zombie variations. Zombies that have quote-unquote mutated. The variations are heavily inspired by a different game. If you've played it or you've watched it, you will know what game I'm talking about. It's basically the same thing. And although the added variations do increase difficulty at the beginning, afterwards, once you know how to counter them, they sort of get a bit stale and they just become annoying. There's only one type of variation that is really scary and could fuck you up. Now, in a game like this, what matters a lot is the terrain that you're in, and most of that is fine. The vegetation, the abandoned compounds, the abandoned military compounds, the amount of zombies which are present is a lot, especially towards the middle of the game. You really want to not be shooting off any unsilenced weapons unless you really have to, because it will just bring down the pain. But on the other side of that, if you're a psychopath like me, go around shooting without a silenced weapon, you can have a lot of fun because you're constantly in scenarios where you're gonna have to dodge, melee, shoot, dodge, melee, shoot, watch your stamina, recover your stamina, dodge, melee, shoot. It's really fun. It adds a lot of pressure, but that's also where the repetitiveness comes in. Because the core gameplay is the same, the game really relies on adding extra content as you level up to keep you going. And if you don't give it a chance, you're gonna stop halfway and you're gonna refund the game. because you feel like, oh, it's so boring, it's just the same thing, it's the same places over and over again, but it's not. The more you progress, the more you unlock, and the areas that you unlock get more dangerous. Initially, I thought it was a small map. It turned out to be a very big map, and each run took me maybe 2 hours. If I'm rushing, it would be 1.5. So you really do have to give this game a chance. You can't just go in there expecting it to give you all the good weapons at level 0, all the areas unlocked. No, no, no. You need to progress the story, you need to progress your levels. And once you start leveling and once you start unlocking shit, when you see what you unlock, you're like, ooh, that looks interesting actually. And you sort of get excited again. You're like, I want to test it, I want to test it. And you start shooting everything. Now, I'm not going to go into the specifics or the detail of the story. I would say the story is pretty fucking cliche, and I wouldn't buy this game for the story. Please don't buy this game for the story. The best way that I would describe the story is there is a story just because a game needs a story to push the plot. And of course, with a game like this, when you're already infected, you can make a really good story. But if your infected survivor is meant to die anyway, then that whole story element goes out the window and your story cannot become a story. Since we're on the topic of the story, let's just say the ending of the story is pretty anticlimactic. You prepare so much for so long, and the ending is just meh. Although, because the ending is meh, it allows for endgame content, which is what I wasn't really expecting. The endgame content basically adds a layer of difficulty that you can adjust to your runs, and the endgame content is also there to push the story a little bit more further. It's just an addition to the story. And that is what I actually haven't finished. And I think I've got my fair share of the game. I'll probably play the endgame content just to see how the true ending is, but I'll probably play it at a more slower pace just to enjoy the game, just to relax. Now, there are some systems that I'm not going to get into, like the weight system, which is heavily flawed. The mutation system, the health system, the stamina system, not going to get into any of those because I don't really have a problem with the rest of those. And at the end of the day, for $10, I would definitely say that I got my money's worth and that I am satisfied. Even with all the expectations that I had, I still came out pretty happy with the product that I received. And it took them like what, 10 years to come out with a new game. So you can imagine that the expectations for some people would be probably very high. But yeah, I genuinely really enjoyed it and I had a lot of fun, and I'll probably be playing the endgame content on my own. If I do end up finishing it soon, I will probably talk about a little bit of it in the comments somewhere. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day and stay safe. Ciao.